Morrissey.
Did she then go off and do a better drawing because he dissed it?
No, I think she was really distraught, and it put her off doing drawings for iconic pop stars of the 80s.
It depends what sort of a kid you are then, doesn't it? Because I'd go off and... Do you know, like, remember Tony Hart? With the gallery and that?
Yes, I remember him well.
You know, he needed to put a lot of those drawings in the bin, as far as I'm concerned.
You think that the standard was too low for the gallery?
Yeah, you know, it's sort of, 4.5, and it'd be a picture of a sun and a tree and that, and you go, that's not that good.
But if you're 4.5, there are mitigating circumstances. They have to be taken into consideration, I think. You know, you can't... Yeah, I think when it comes to a child's drawing, the aesthetic quality is not the only consideration. It's not like only merit, innit? You think, it's done a drawing. You just sort of, you're grateful that the child's done a drawing. I think, I'm not attacking Morrissey. No one, I bow to no one in my adoration of that man. But I'm just saying, like, if a child does you a drawing, you've got to think, the child's done a drawing, not the perspective's wrong.
So at what age are you saying that you can say to a kid, look, that is rubbish?
Never. I don't, even if you're, I don't think there's ever...
14-year-old.
Still be nice to it.
15? Still,
always. And then they're on the cusp of adulthood, there becomes a whole different journey of reasons why you should be nice to children. They're very vulnerable at that age. They're just discovering their sexuality, their identities. They could get entrenched in a quagmire. I think we've got an obligation to be nice to everyone. This is BBC Six Music. That's Joy Zipper with One. I'd like to dedicate that to John Knoll, my agent out in Cuba, who's listening to this probably on a computer somewhere. He's sending me text messages complaining about the content of the show while we're on air because I mentioned, I did a little hit list of things I'd done in the past. Like earlier in the show, I had a bath with a homeless person. There was all sorts of antics. Right, he's like a controlling maniac, that man. There's no better example of that fact than this. Right, like sort of a couple of weeks ago, I was late, I was at home, it was about sort of 9 o'clock in the morning, sort of got up, there was a taxi outside to take me off to go to work somewhere. I ran out in my pants just to go to the taxi. Hold on, I'll be a little while, I've got to get ready. That's embarrassing enough. As I'm running back into the house in my pants, I know there's a couple of blokes, right? One of them sort of wearing a suit, both of them quite heavy. The other one sort of much more conventional heavy, wearing like a sort of a bomber jacket and a woolly hat. I run back in the house, suddenly there's a knock on the door, sort of them aggressive type of knocks. I go to the door and the one in the suit goes, are you Russell Brand? I say yes. He goes, right, we're bailiffs, we've come here to reclaim your television set and some property to the value of £500 because of non-payment of council tax. Now, I hadn't paid my council tax, so I thought, oh no, I was a bit, I goes, but I've not, there was a reason, I've not paid the council tax because there's all complications, I've been trying to do it, well, we don't care about that. I was, look, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to shut the door. Right, shut the door, and went back in the house, they shout through the letterbox, we've got a warrant, sir, here's the warrant. I goes, look, I can't read. And he goes, look, you're gonna have to open the door. And then my neighbours are coming, sort of it's a shared hallway, so my neighbours are coming down the stairs, opening the doorway, then one of them gets a foot in the door, so I run inside the house again, shut the door again. So I'm locked in right within the house, ring up John Knoll, my agent, for a little bit of advice, go, oh yeah, this is bailiffs. Like they say they want to come in, well, you have to let them in, I goes, well, I'm not sure about that, I don't want to, I've had bad experiences with bailiffs, let me talk to them. So I give the phone, I go, oh, bailiffs, yeah, I'll have a talk to him, give the phone over, they give me the phone back after a minute and say, yeah, right, we're taking your TV. They come in like the Keystone Cops, knocking over my coffee table, taking the TV out, unplugging all the, the PlayStation, all digital things, and all consoles and that, and knocking stuff over while I'm on the phone at the council going, look, there's been complications with council tax. They pull my phone out of the wall, and then I go into the office later on that day, still trying to sort things out with the council, and John Knoll comes bulldozing his way in and goes, get off the phone, I need to show you something. And I'm like, well, hold on, I've just got to talk to the council about this. They're telling me they've not heard of this debt collecting agency that have come and taken my telly. They said they've never heard of them, there's no register of them, they've never heard of them. And he goes, come in here, takes me into office, turns on a video, is me opening the front door in my pants. And then there's me sort of making all these explanations, saying all these daft things. The bailiffs had the bailiff had a camera in his woolly hat. There was another camera across the street. There was another camera hidden in the van. The whole thing was an elaborate setup by John Knoll for no reason. It's not like Candid Camera or for a TV programme. He just did it to exercise insane power over my life. No one should have to put up with that. You know, at least Jeremy Beadle, he's got that, like, little hand, isn't he? You could point that out to him to get some status back in the situation. What do you do with someone like that, Carl?
Well, you got me to sort of sign up with him, so...
Yeah, you're in the lurch and all. We're in a right predicament, aren't we? Let's just let music be our guide. That was Talking Heads, Nothing But Flowers. This is BBC Six Music. I'm Russell Brand here with Karl Pilkington, standing in for Namone. So, the show's coming to an end now. It's like sort of 1:45. We'll be off in a little while.
Really? You can't just say you're shooting off in a bit. We've got 15...
Yeah, I know, and it's going to be a great 15 minutes. I'm not talking it down. I'm not saying like I've mentally switched off now. It's all over
you have,
for me.
because you already popped your little hat on.
I have put my hat on, yeah, because, like, well, for a couple of reasons. I like wearing this hat. Yeah. Right, it's a statement, right? Although, like, so I do worry about, like, sort of, it's difficult, isn't it, to wear a hat, because, like, my worry always is with a hat is that it can overwhelm you as a person. Like, I like wearing this hat. It's like the bravery, I think, like, the bravery must, like, with those haircuts, I mean, their haircuts are so fashionable that I think they must constantly feel like, you know, how do they think about anything else? I think they must go through life being totally aware of the, oh, hello, here I am, I've arrived with my haircut, sitting down now with my haircut. What do you think of the situation in Kashmir? I've got a haircut, you know what I mean, it's difficult, and I feel like that with my hat, you know, if I go into, you know, a baker's or a haberdashery or something, I just sort of feel like, you know, I should go, oh, I've got this hat on, you know, I just want to clear it up with you, I'm aware of the hat. It's like it's the elephant in the room thing again in psychiatry. It's like the thing that's no one's, if I'm in a baker's and no one's mentioned my hat, I'm thinking everyone's thinking about this hat now. You know, I feel like it's an unspoken thing. You're not someone who's really... Fashion's not important to you, is it, Carl? Don't mean that to sound derogatory.
No, it's never been that important to me. I mean, I see you with your hat on, and I just think, oh, something else to put on.
Right.
If I was at home, and I'm in a rush and running late,
yeah,
it's already a pain in the winter, isn't it? Because you've got to put your coat on, you've probably got a little scarf to pop on,
yeah,
some gloves. And your list of things to do before you leave the house is just getting longer. You've got pop-on hats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you were saying yesterday you're thinking about getting a cane.
I've got a cane.
Right.
I just don't...
Cane. Cape, maybe?
I don't think there are any more sort of, like, appurtenances that I'll be able to carry off, you know. I just like, so I think it's a bit worrying, isn't it, fashion, if you take it too seriously. I've started wearing, cause of wearing, you know, drain pipe jeans and that, like, men's jeans were no longer tight enough, I've started wearing girls' jeans, right, and they're really tight.
But why? Why are you doing this?
Well, if I'm 100% honest, it's because I've been influenced by, like, you know, I became friends with Carl Barat out of the Libertines, and again, my personality was not strong enough to withstand that kind of influence. It's like, oh, look at him, he's got a hat, he's wearing tight jeans, perhaps if I was to put on a pair of tight jeans, you know what I mean, sort of like, you know, I've got a character of my own.
Yeah, but why are you following everyone else?
I'm not everyone else. I'm not, like, planning to shave my head and become all morose in an attempt to be more like you.
No, but there is, like, in that same science magazine I was talking about earlier, right, there's a bit in it about how sheep, you know, that saying about follow the sheep flock. And stuff. That apparently sheep sometimes jump off a cliff.
Yeah. Right? Why do they do that?
I don't know, but the one at the front does it, so everyone else copies. I sort of think, why is the one in the front in charge? Do you know what I mean? If he doesn't know what he's doing, he's jumping off cliffs. Yeah. He shouldn't be leading anyone.
He's risen to a position of power on next to no ability there.
But that's kind of what you're doing. You're following Karl Barat.
Yeah, but he does look nice. You know.
Yeah, but you see, the only time I was into fashion, right, it was about, I don't know, when was it? About 82, 83.
Yeah.
And tank tops were in.
Well, who can forget the tank top?
Yeah, I had a nice little red tank top, right? And I used to wear it with a white grandad shirt underneath. Right, it looked pretty smart.
How old were you?
I don't know, what would it have been then? About 9, something like that.
Alright.
Looked pretty smart, right? And I love this red tank top, right? But for some, I don't know how I managed it, but I got a little bit of oil on the front of it. And I was like, oh, I can't believe it, I've got a bit of oil on my tank top and that. I thought, what can I do? It won't come out. And I don't know what came over me, right? But I decided that cutting it out was a good idea.
Right.
And I sort of got hold of the bit with the oil on, so I pulled it out a little bit, like that. Cut it out, stood in front of the mirror, thought that hasn't worked, has it?
If anything, it's worse.
It's made it worse. From a white sort of from a black oily bit. Now, all you can see is me white grandad shirt underneath. I just thought, why? But ever since then, I got sick of fashion. So I forget it. Just wear stuff that if I get oil on, not bothered.
Just carry on.
Just carry on, and that's what you need to do. You just need to, you know, you're a smart looking bloke. You've got your hair. Yeah, that's good. That's a good fashion accessory. No matter what you wear, you look sort of cool because you've got that hair.
The hair would always be
everybody with sort of long hair is pretty cool. You know what I mean? I can't think of anyone with long hair who's...
Well, I don't know, right, Carl, because like the sort of two people that I most commonly could like sort of compared with, people go, oh, you look a bit like, right? Yeah. Justin Hawkins, right? Oh, you know, I don't like being compared to him physically. No. And like, not that he isn't, you know, a very talented man. And Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. Right, and I don't like being, you know, so they're like, I don't want to be compared to them physically. That's something I've got to fight.
No, good point.
I've got a hat. That's Soul Sister Brown Sugar by Sam and Dave. They didn't get on in real life, apparently, did they, Sam and Dave?
Didn't have a chat. They couldn't do this.
They couldn't, could they? There'd be a terrible atmosphere. This is BBC Six Music's me, Russell Brand, and Karl Pilkington. Before Sam and Dave, we had Simon & Garfunkel with The Boxer. You like that track, don't you?
Loving that, yeah.
Because it's a story. You like songs that are stories.
All songs that are stories, but also on that track, right? Yeah. Do you know the drum bit at the end? It's like, da-na-na.
Yeah.
That big crash. They did that by holding some sort of drum in a lift shaft. And they went, that sounds good, doesn't it? And they were like, yeah, let's record that and use it on the track.
No, they can't have been doing that anyway and then decided to incorporate it into a track. Surely they were saying we need an echoey drum.
They experimented back then, didn't they, with music and that, and they might have been in a lift shaft just banging it, going, that sounds good, doesn't it? And
well, how did they get there?
Well, again, you're always having a go. You're always having a go.
No, okay, fair enough. Because their relationship fell apart, didn't it? Probably because of this experimentation. You spend enough time in a lift shaft with someone, you know, that's what would happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up, because we're the only people in the BBC at the moment.
Let's wrap it up.
Steph's abandoned us. You know, like, I'm worried. I think that we must be very careful in the elevator. There's no paper in the photocopiers. We've just been left here. It's like, in the lift shaft, I want you to stay very close to me, Carl. I don't, but no experimentation, you know. Let me make that clear. Right, well, we'll be back
again tomorrow, yeah.
Back tomorrow for our final shows, then the Moan will be back after that. So, yeah, join us then. Nighty night, ta-ta.